All right, good morning. Welcome to the October 24th Delaware County Council meeting. If we could all please stand for the pledge. Eugene, kick us off, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Flanagan.
Present.
Mr. Hughes.
Here.
Mr. Cantz.
Here.
Mr. Mokel.
Here.
Mr. Webb.
Here.
Mr. Whitehead.
Present.
Ms. Piper.
Here. All right. Any questions from the public may be directed to our county council email, which is countycouncildist@co.delaware.in.us. Again, that's countycouncildist@co.delaware.in.us. Obviously, you can also email any of us. Our email addresses are readily available on the county website. Denise, was the agenda posted? With that, I'll entertain approval of the agenda.
So moved. Second.
We got a motion by Dan, second by Eugene. Roll call, please.
Ms. Flanagan.
Yes.
Mr. Hughes.
Yes.
Mr. Cantz.
Yes.
Mr. Mokel.
Yes.
Mr. Webb.
Yes.
Mr. Whitehead.
Yes.
Ms. Piper.
Yes. All right, moving on to the approval of the September 26th County Council meeting minutes. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Eugene, second by Dan. Roll call, please.
Ms. Flanagan.
Yes.
Mr. Hughes.
Yes.
Mr. Cantz.
Yes.
Mr. Mokel.
Yes.
Mr. Webb.
Yes.
Mr. Whitehead.
Yes.
Ms. Piper.
Yes. Awesome. We'll move on over to our transfer and appropriation agenda. You're up, Tanya.
Okay, starting out in County General, Sheriff, 129. We have line 152 deputy, negative 10,000, 557.98. A 152 deputy, positive 10,000, 557.98, for a total transfer of 0.
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion by Ryan, second by Dan. Any questions? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Ms. Flanagan.
Yes.
Mr. Hughes.
Yes.
Mr. Cantz.
Yes.
Mr. Mokel.
Yes.
Mr. Webb.
Yes.
Mr. Whitehead.
Yes.
Ms. Piper.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, Circuit Court, 138. We have 164 probation officer, negative 2,965.51. 196 part-time probation officer, negative 1,600. A 106 assistant court reporter, negative 3,494.54. A 150 juvenile probation supervisor stipend, negative $211.54. B 120 assistant court reporter / court bailiff, negative 4,117.30. B 131 court reporter, negative 1,287. C 138 assistant court reporter, negative $837.42. C 165 court secretary, negative $68.80. E 146 assistant court reporter, negative $69.81. F 140 pretrial screening analyst, negative $837.45. This is going to 313 psychological testing, positive 15,489.37, for a total transfer of 0.
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion by Ryan, second by Dan. Any questions?
I have a quick question.
Yep.
Could you, give me a little information on the psychological testing?
Yeah, this is what I warned you about at budget hearing. This is why I had to keep some of my money. We're out of the psychological testing, which is the psychological evaluations that are mandatory on cases, that you have to have 2 psych evals on each case. And we're down to $0, and we have 2 invoices right now that are $3,600 that I have to pay out. So I'm already using $3,600 of this. So hopefully this will get me through the end of the year. What I predicted is that this amount will get me through. So I've just kind of taken a lot of my extra money out of lines and pushed it to that.
Kudos to you guys for finding the money within your budget to transfer it. Hopefully it gets you. through
It
the year.
should.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Ms. Flanagan.
Yes.
Mr. Hughes.
Yes.
Mr. Cantz.
Yes.
Mr. Mokel.
Yes.
Mr. Webb.
Yes.
Mr. Whitehead.
Yes.
Ms. Piper.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have Treasurer, 127. Line 211, office supplies, positive $1,000. 325, printing, negative $1,000, total transfer is zero.
To approve.
Second.
Motion by Ryan, second by Dan. Any questions?
I have a quick question.
Okay.
You're not out of office supplies money, right?
We will be after we pay, because what we're doing is we had to order special receipt paper for the fall tax collection time, as well as printer ink, and so that will take it all, more than all.
So rather than use what you had, you just found where you had something, a little bit left over, you're just transferring to cover that.
Yeah, because that will cover everything, and actually, it's, between the paper and the ink cartridges, it's a little more than what I have now, so that's why I'm asking for the transfer.
Awesome. Thank you, Brad.
All right, any questions? Roll call, please.
Mr. Flanagan.
Yes.
Mr. Hughes.
Yes.
Mr. Cantz.
Yes.
Mr. Mokel.
Yes.
Mr. Webb.
Yes.
Mr. Whitehead.
Yes.
Ms. Piper.
Yes. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
President Piper?
Yes.
is the, were they all favorable in the?
Oh, yes, so everything was favorable in our finance meeting for the transfers. But there is one question on this next one with the prosecutor's office, which we did receive an email, and copies of that email, to cover that one topic. So with that, prosecutor's up.
Okay, prosecutor 137. We have C 113, deputy prosecutor, negative $780. This next line should read 198, part-time, positive $780. B 111, investigator, negative $2,085. C 113, deputy prosecutor, negative $8,798.32. B 115, deputy prosecutor, negative $14,811.95. 211, office supplies, positive $1,000. 420, office remodel, positive $24,695.27. Total transfer is zero.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Ryan, second by Dan. I know we're going to have questions on this one. Actually, during finance, with that office remodel, Jim had some specific questions on what all was covered under that 24,695.27. So if you'd like to kind of cover that for us.
Yes, well, we are trying to make a new office for our new deputy prosecutor.
Oh, name and office.
I'm sorry, Lisa Carr, prosecutor's office. So we've contacted Steve Foster. We contacted him Thursday afternoon. He has not had a chance to get back with us with an estimate. We've got a little space where we just need to have a wall and a door. And so we're waiting on an estimate from him for that. I have contacted IT to put in a data line for us. And they were also gonna get a quote for another electrical outlet. So that I do not have back yet. I have a quote back for, my new laptop and dock and, for furniture.
Who's Steve Foster?
Steve Foster is the head of maintenance for the county.
That's what I thought. And so I guess, my comment only is that it only appears to me, not being a contractor, that the 24,695 would, in my mind, would not be in line with what I think you're getting for office space. I do think you're getting good quotes on your computers and all the rest of the items that you have indicated that you're going to need for this office, chairs and desk and so forth. I would hope that you would have your money left over to purchase as many copiers as you would need with the 24/6. I don't have a problem with
For
you spending the
hopeful.
24/6.
Yes,
I just think that you should get a bigger bang for the buck.
absolutely. And
and-
we don't, until I get estimates, this was the money that I could find to go ahead and transfer, to be able to do the transfer now in order to have it for this, year out of the 2023 budget.
Would you be so kind as to email us the estimate,
The copies of the estimates?
if you
Yes,
would, please?
absolutely.
Thank you.
Mind you, when we approved the, new deputy prosecutor position, the prosecutor had asked for money in the 2024 budget for the office remodel. We did not approve that. We said, find it in your budget, and that's what they've done here.
And just a friendly reminder too, that we only have one more meeting this year where we can, well, this is a transfer, so never mind.
Right.
December is only transfers, but we'd like to get the money in there, they would like to get the money in there so that they have it to make these payments as they come in this year.
So Lisa, just to be clear, so you've only got estimates about $3,500. You're asking for 24.
Yes.
The big chunk of it yet to come. You'll send us that information when you get it.
Yes, I will.
Well, to touch on Councilmember Hughes said, much like, Emily did, kudos to you guys for finding the money within your budget to be able to pull this off. You know, money's tight for us right now, so any money we don't have to appropriate is gonna be a benefit going into next year. So, thank you to you and your team, and, hopefully, maybe there's even some money left over when you're done with this.
Hope so.
So, good job.
I do have a comment. At the budget request time, the prosecutor's office was asking for 3 new employees and a total of about $14,000 for remodel, computers, and furniture. Now we're asking to transfer well over 24,000 to get computers, furniture, remodel for 1 office space plus copiers. Is that where I'm hearing?
Correct.
All right, I don't feel comfortable moving all this money into office remodel until we get hard figures on estimates, because it seems to me like there should be plenty of money left over. And I guess I'm not a fan of having it sit there for the discretionary use of office remodel or whatever falls underneath that umbrella.
I mean, we will be careful with it. My intention is, I found that money now. I went ahead and transferred it now because after I start getting things in place, we need to be able to pay the bills and get them all paid before December 31st in order for it to come out of this budget.
My comment was exactly what your comment was, Councilman. And that is just that, in my mind, I thought there was plenty of money left over to do the remodel and possibly have money left over for 1 or 2 copiers. I don't want to see, a bunch of money thrown at walls and a door. And we know that, and again, your desk and computer and monitors and scanner and so forth, looks to me like that makes up a small portion of this $24,000. It just would have been easier today to have all those numbers in front of us so that we could really take a hard look at, what's going on.
And
I don't think
understand
the
and I
council,
apologize if
I'm
we
speaking
don't.
for the council, I don't know that we have a problem with your spending the money. I just think that we should be able to get the office space, the equipment, and the copiers all for what you're looking at here for your budget. And I, as well as another councilman, just don't feel real comfortable. I have this uneasy feeling that I don't want to see 3 walls and a door and some office, equipment come in at $24,695.
I can't imagine that it will. The wall, I don't need 3 walls. I only need 1 and 1 door.
One wall,
Yes. 1 wall, 1 door.
one door.
Yes. Yes. I just have no idea what something like that will cost. And we did contact Steve Foster on Thursday afternoon. He just has not had time to get it back to us. We did reach out to him again yesterday morning.
So
Go ahead.
So is it fair to say you're gonna transfer the money in to office remodel to pay the bills associated with that, getting it done by the end of the year, correct?
Correct.
Okay. The remainder, what will happen with the remainder?
If there is anything left, it will go back to the county. It goes into a 420 line. And the only things that I can move even with an email are for computers, furniture, and our office remodel.
400 series or capital projects. So any department that has remaining funds and any lines at the end of the year, it does all come back. So it doesn't revert back into their account.
Did you get estimates on the black and white and color copiers?
I had contacted them, they told me the black and white for a used one is about 4,900. I emailed yesterday morning to confirm the color copy price, and the gentleman was sick yesterday. He told me he would get back to me today. So as soon as I have those, I will email those to you.
Does it make any sense for us to consider leasing those rather than buying those?
That's another option, so I'll get prices both ways.
Do we shop those things around? Or we only get them from one supplier?
We have a contract, the commissioners have a contract with with Weber, I suppose, and they do all the maintenance. So if we were to shop around and go outside of that contract, we would have to sign up an additional maintenance contract. And I know, I think it was, I don't remember whose office it was now, maybe the courts, that one of their copiers had already had like 10 calls on it this year. So there are a lot of departments who are gonna come before us needing copiers, because they are coming to end of life.
With the paper that we've been using,
Okay,
because Dan came in and he also called, and I forget the name brand of the copier, but it's like from Germany or
Mhm.
overseas, and it cannot be used in our copier, in the copiers that he has. And he's asked everyone to quit using that particular type of paper. I can get that information to you. Further.
It's an off-the-cuff question, it's not
Yeah.
a big deal.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, I guess my opinion is more that to entrust Lisa that she's allocating the funds, will not overuse the funds. And if Steve's the only one we're gonna be able to get a quote from relative to the walls, then we're kind of, in that boat. To me, shopping things around is more prudent, effort than, than what we're kind of concerned. We're concerned with it, right? You're leaving the money laying out there, but at the same time, I think that we're trying to I would be wanting to entrust the department head to take care of that and then come back to us if and when and reporting back what actually was done. But I also think that, we get pigeonholed into, what we have to spend and with whom in a lot of cases, which I think is also something that should be looked at long-term. Go ahead, Tony.
I would just like to point out that if some of this money is for copiers, may I ask, are you renting them or are you buying them?
We currently, they're currently owned. So the copier question, I think there would have to be another transfer, wouldn't there? for
Right,
a
because that's
copier?
gonna need to be, if you're buying it, it would be like a 441, like equipment
Right.
line.
This came up at the finance meeting, whether if there was extra money that if we could possibly get our copiers out of it.
So,
Yeah, that's right,
We'd
I
have to come
remember.
back for
So if
another
that,
transfer in December
so
to
wouldn't it
do
make
that.
more sense then to come back next month and give us a detailed itemized list of what you actually need transferred for? So much for a copier, so much for, a remodel, because, I mean, in the beginning, I was prepared to vote for this, but after listening to Councilmember Whitehead and Councilmember Mokel, they bring up some very valid points that it's our jobs to trust the money and be careful with the money. We can't, I think we're really getting into touchy ground when we start just doling out money and trusting department heads with the money. No offense to any department heads, but that's what we're paid to do, is to be trusted with the money and to allocate it appropriately. The other thing I would say is.
We're
is-
transferring money though in this case, don't
Yeah.
forget. This is not an allocation.
Well, either way, we're still transferring it with a blind authority to do as you wish with it, pretty much under the umbrella of a remodel. I think it makes more appropriate sense to have it an itemized list. This is how much a copier is, this is how much for the remodel. Steve's here now, he can give time to give an appropriate quote. And then, I think it would make more sense. The other thing I would want to point out is your copiers aren't broke, right?
No, they are not.
So they are working, they're just
They are
kind of at
working.
the end of life.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's probably something that's gonna get done in due time. I'm a little bit hesitant on this one, though.
My only concern is that unless I have money transferred, I'm not going to be able to order a computer. I'm not gonna, or do anything until I actually have that money transferred.
Okay,
And
is there a way to do a partial approval?
Well,
of
so
this?
here, at the end of the day, this has to bounce to a 0. And so there are some requests in here, right? She's got the deputy prosecutor and part-time, which they balance out. And then she's pulling from these positions that have been open, the extra monies that are in those lines from being open.
Correct.
Is where she's getting some of that money that she's then moving down. Those negatives is where she's getting that additional 1,000 for office supplies and that 24. I mean, we could reduce it, like an easy way to reduce that would be maybe that, remove the deputy prosecutor, and reduce that 24,695, 27 by that much, and then it's not the full amount, and then next month, you have money to play with.
Mm-hmm.
Closer to what, 10 grand, somewhere around there?
So-
9,900,
98,
And so if that's something we'd like to do, then I believe we need to have another vote to amend
When,
this transfer, is that correct?
Well, ask Lisa a question. Does $9,883.32 moved into office remodel give you enough to work with for the next month to start what you want to start?
I believe that would give me enough to get started, yes.
Okay, then I think that's a good idea.
So now do
I
we need a
will come back
motion to
with
amend?
another transfer
yes, you need
next
to
month
amend
when I have
the,
quotes.
the proposed transfer, and then, you can vote to approve as amended.
All right, well, then at that, I will entertain a motion to amend this
What do we-
request.
Yeah, what are we amending? So we were
Amending,
taking B11
No,
investigator,
B115 out.
the big one.
right, but that was,
Mark that one out.
so we're at $10,883.32
9,883.32.
minus the 1,000, right, is what you're
So
saying?
the 1,000 needs to
Yeah.
stay. That's something different than the office remodel.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
so
I'm
we're
just saying, we're starting at 10,883, we're deducting the 1,000 for office supplies, and then the
Oh,
remainder
yeah.
is for office remodel, correct? I don't get 10,883, I get 9,000.
That's what we do. He's
And then subtract 1,000 off of it.
Anya.
I'm trying to figure out why we're subtracting 1,000.
He still needs the 1,000. That's a different line.
What are you adding
So
together?
the two negative, okay, the 780,
Yeah,
780
I'm back with you.
evens out.
The
comes out the wash.
9,883, yeah.
The
that's
other
right.
two, the
That's the number I gave you,
2,085
right?
and the 8798.32 does in fact equal 10,883.32. So we would put a positive 1,000 onto 11 as is, and then 420 would be a positive 9,883.32 to equal that 10,883.32.
Gives us 0. All right, everyone clear on those numbers?
I'll make a motion to amend for those numbers.
Second.
We have a motion to amend from Ryan, second by Dan. Roll call on amending.
Mr. Flanagan.
Yes.
Mr. Hughes.
Yes.
Mr. Cantz.
No,
Mr. Mokel.
Yes.
Mr. Webb.
Yes.
Mr. Whitehead.
yes,
Ms. Piper.
Yes. All right, and then now I need, that we just vote to,
Motion to accept. the
As
transfer
amended.
As amended.
that's you, Dan?
Yes.
Okay. Motion by Dan, second by Ryan. Roll call, please.
Mr. Flanagan.
Yes.
Mr. Hughes.
Yes.
Mr. Cantz.
no,
Mr. Mokel.
Yes.
Mr. Webb.
Yes.
Ms. Whitehead.
yes.
Piper.
Yes.
Ms. Piper, I'd like to get the numbers from Tanya again.
Sure.
'cause I did. Would you repeat them again, please?
Just read them out loud because I need to write them down too.
Okay, good. Nope. This one's zero.
Yeah.
This one's zero. Okay. Those two equal. We're taking out a 14,811.95 on B150. So our 780s wash, then our 2,085 and our 8798.32 equals a negative 883.32. And the office supplies of 211 is a positive 1,000. 420 office remodel is positive 9,883.32. So those even out with the two. Total transfer, 0.
Lisa, and would it be safe to say you're gonna come in next month, get on the agenda with an appropriate quote for the remodel and the copiers for us?
I will send an email as soon as I get the quotes. I will send those emails to you, and then I will probably, if I need more money, will ask for a transfer for next month.
Yeah, because I'm looking forward to making this happen. I just wanna make sure that we do it in a way that's, more fiscally appropriate, I guess. So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. So that was the one line item we had some extra discussion on in Finance Committee. The rest is all pretty cut and dry.
Okay, next is Public Defender's Office, 139. We have 186 attorney fees, positive $10,000. 195 disability insurance, negative 1,100. FICA, 171 FICA, negative $20,000. 194 life insurance, positive $560. 193 health insurance, positive $7,650. 172 perf, positive $12,890. 312 contract attorney fees, negative $10,000. Total transfer is 0.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Ryan, second by Dan. Any questions?
I have a quick one.
Okay.
Could you just quickly educate me on what the, contract attorney fees are for?
Contract attorney fees are, I'm sorry, Shelley Harvey, Public Defender's Office. Contract attorney fees are when we have, conflicts on cases, or one of our attorneys is at the top of their numbers, they've hit their quota. We have to hire attorneys who are not employed by our office and contract with them.
Like
to-
out of county or something?
Or a local attorney who's not currently a public defender, we have to pay them by the hour, and that's $100 an hour set by, the Public Defender Commission.
Okay, thank you for
Mhm.
explaining that.
All right, any additional questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Flanagan.
Yes.
Mr. Hughes.
Yes.
Ms. Cantz.
Yes.
Mr. Mokel.
Yes.
Mr. Webb.
Yes.
Mr. Whitehead.
Yes.
Ms. Piper.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're moving outside of County General.
Okay, first up under other is Highway Department, 1176. We have B, 132 truck driver, negative 7,814.43. C, 132 truck driver, positive 7,814.43. 116 equipment operator, negative 7,139.54. A, 116 equipment operator, positive 7,139.54. 170 part-time, negative $30,000. 160 overtime, positive $30,000. Total transfer is 0.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Ryan, second by Dan. Any questions?
Is the, part-time to overtime getting ready for the plow season or just? Yes.
Yes.
All right, any further questions?
Yeah, I do. I got two questions. Number one, why do we got so much part-time money to transfer? And number two, why do we have so much overtime? If we're not having, I thought the highway department to use that significant overtime would be like a big snowstorm and everyone's plowing, like,
Okay,
why do we have that much
That's
overtime?
pretty simple. We, Troy orders 600 tons of mix. We have to get 600 tons of mix. If we have a truck go down, paver goes down, we take every call we get and handle them within 24 hours. So there's a lot of things. If the plant shuts down, we still have to take that mix. I mean, we're going to have to pay for it one way or the other.
Kind of mixed time you're talking about?
Hot mix.
Asphalt?
Yeah, asphalt. So mechanics, if we have a truck that's broke down that we need tomorrow or a roller, I mean, they have to fix it. They have to stay over and fix it. I mean, we're on a tight schedule. I mean, if I don't do it, it's gonna be my butt in trouble with the commissioners. We have so much stuff that we have to get done, and I have to get it done. You know, snow time, I mean, that's a no-brainer.
We don't necessarily think that we're gonna use all of this, but we also don't wanna get to the end of the year and have snow like we did last Christmas, and we don't have any money to pay the overtime. Cause last year, we had guys that split their shifts so they could be home with their families over Christmas. We just don't know.
Right. So why do we have so much part-time money? though?
Because our tractors were broke down and we couldn't hire anyone. Now we got new tractors.
Okay,
We didn't have any
We didn't have any
part-time help
part-time,
over this
we had
summer.
no help.
and with the hot mix, you're saying, once you get it, the clock starts ticking.
Yeah,
And
and
you
I
gotta
mean,
put
it's
it
the same
out.
way with the mechanics, it's the same with the bridge department. I mean, if we're putting a culvert in and we have to concrete it back, we cannot leave that job. If we have to stay 2 hours over, I mean, we can't leave it there and close it off.
That
you
makes sense. I just
Yeah.
wanted you to give us an explanation.
Yeah, there's so many
for it.
jobs that we can't predict on how long they're gonna take. I mean, yeah, we should get this done in 8 hours, but it turns into be 12 or 13, so,
Anything, Tommy?
yep, yes, sir.
All right, any further questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Flanagan.
Yes.
Mr. Hughes.
Yes.
Mr. Cantz.
Yes.
Mr. Mokel.
Yes.
Mr. Webb.
Yes.
Mr. Wyatt.
Yes.
Mr. Piper.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
I guess you're right there
I'm
still.
still here.
Okay, next is Cume Bridge, 1135. We have B 140 operator welder, negative 10,330.22. C 140 operator welder, positive 10,330.22. 173 health insurance, negative 15,000. 160 overtime, positive 15,000. Total transfer is zero.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Ryan, second by Dan. This is more of the same. Any questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Flanagan.
Yes.
Mr. Hughes.
Yes.
Mr. Cantz.
Yes.
Mr. Mokel.
Yes.
Mr. Webb.
Yes.
Mr. Wyatt.
Yes.
Ms. Piper.
Yes.
Thank
All right,
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Tell your team we appreciate all the work. keeping
Thank
up with
you.
the roads.
I appreciate it.
Save me a seat come the first
There you go.
blizzard, because I'm coming.
Hopefully it's a long time.
I'm on the ride.
I know.
Okay, next we have jail lit, 1170, F 111 correctional officer. These amounts did get changed at finance. The amount is negative 10,381.70. G 111 correctional officer, positive 10,381.70 for a total transfer of zero.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Ryan, second by Dan. This is just backfilling an employee. Any questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Flanagan.
Yes.
Mr. Hughes.
Yes.
Mr. Cantz.
Yes.
Mr. Mokel.
Yes.
Mr. Webb.
Yes.
Mr. Wyatt.
Yes.
Ms. Piper.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You.
Prosecutor lit 1170, B 103 investigator, negative 1,833. C 103 investigator, positive 1,833. Total transfer is zero.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Ryan, second by Dan. Any questions on this one? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Flanagan.
Yes.
Mr. Hughes.
Yes.
Mr. Cantz.
Yes.
Mr. Mokel.
Yes.
Mr. Webb.
Yes.
Mr. Wyatt.
Yes.
Ms. Piper.
Yes. Thank you.
Public defender supplemental of 173, health insurance, negative $200, 172 perf, positive $120, 171 FICA, positive $80, total transfer is zero.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Ryan, second by Dan. Any questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Flanagan.
Yes.
Mr. Hughes.
Yes.
Mr. Cantz.
Yes.
Mr. Mokel.
Yes.
Mr. Webb.
Yes.
Mr. Wyatt.
Yes.
Ms. Piper.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. On to the addendum.
Okay, the jail, they are on page 1. Then on page 2, the very first one should read jail, not sheriff. And then they are also on page 4. So I am going to do all of jail together, and I'm just gonna go from page to page to page.
That works?
Okay? County General Jail 145, we have G 113 Correctional Officer, negative 8,514. H 113 Correctional Officer, positive 8,514. G 139 Correctional Officer, negative 13,422.91. H 139 Correctional Officer, positive 13,422.91. That total is zero. Then we're going to page 2. Jail 145, we have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 clothing allowances at $1,500 each. They are all negative $1,500. We have C 135 correctional officer for a positive $6,360. 197 overtime, positive $8,640. Total transfer is zero.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All
Oh,
right.
wait, we're not done yet. Got one
So
more.
you said this was supposed to be, because it was turned in to Sheriff 145.
And it was supposed to be jail, 145. What did I miss?
Correct, that last one she just read
Give me
is
all,
the jail.
as a total.
Yeah.
So are we
Page
continuing to
4,
find
isn't it?
these?
Yeah, go to page
Okay.
4.
Wait,
My apologies.
we need to rescind.
Is that right, Nancy, with the jail
That last one
145?
she just read, yes, that's all jail.
Okay, then on page
We have a
4,
motion.
In our
Wait,
motion?
wait, wait. Withdraw your motion.
I withdraw my motion.
page 4, jail 145, we have G 134 correctional officer, negative 12,325.93. H 134 correctional officer, positive 12,325.93. Net total transfer is zero.
Now we're ready.
Now you can go.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Ryan, second by Dan. Do we have any questions? Lots of backfilling. Hearing none, roll call, please.
Flanagan.
Yes.
Mr. Hughes.
Yes.
Mr. Cantz.
Yes.
Ms. Mokel.
Yes.
Mr. Webb.
Yes.
Mr. Whitehead.
Yes.
Ms. Piper.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
And you get to stay right there.
I do.
Now on to sheriff, 129. We have 197 overtime, negative $76.94. D, 122 corporal, positive $76.94. Total transfer is zero.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Ryan, second by Dan. Any questions?
I do have a quick one.
Hmm?
So we're always transferring everything into overtime. Why are we doing reversal on this one?
Nancy Marvin, Sheriff's Office. The person that got promoted actually had a little bit more time in the department than the person who left the previous corporal position, which meant that he would be making a little bit more than the last guy who had that spot. So now I have to cover to make sure he can get through to the end of the year.
Why'd you take it from overtime?
Where else did you want me to take it? Office supplies?
Clothing
But
allowance, whatever.
I already did. And I'll be honest,
It's a moot point. It doesn't matter.
I'd already moved all the clothing allowances before into overtime to try and take care of it.
Well, good job of filling all these positions.
I'm trying.
That's all.
All right, roll call, please.
Mr. Flanagan.
Yes.
Mr. Hughes.
Yes.
Mr. Cantz.
Yes.
Ms. Mokel.
Yes.
Mr. Webb.
Yes.
Mr. Whitehead.
Yes.
Ms. Piper.
Yes. Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Next is auditor, E 104, payroll, negative $6,059.22. F 104, payroll, positive $6,059.22. B 119, tax sale deputy, negative $7,475.61. C 119, tax sale deputy, positive $7,475.61. Total transfer is zero.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Ryan, second by Dan. Any questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Flanagan.
Yes.
Mr. Hughes.
Yes.
Mr. Cantz.
Yes.
Ms. Mokel.
Yes.
Mr. Webb.
Yes.
Mr. Whitehead.
Yes.
Ms. Piper.
Yes. Great. Over and out of county general and over to other.
Okay, we have community corrections, DOC grant, 9320. A 109, an administrative assistant, negative 3,366.41. B 108, administrative assistant, positive 3,366.41. A 109, administrative assistant, negative $147.35. A 107, financial manager, positive $147.35. Total transfer is zero.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Ryan, second by Dan. Any questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Flanagan.
Yes.
Mr. Hughes.
Yes.
Mr. Cantz.
Yes.
Ms. Mokel.
Yes.
Mr. Webb.
Yes.
Mr. Whitehead.
Yes.
Ms. Piper.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, still with community corrections, but this is drug project income 2501. We have B 108, financial manager, negative $35.20. C 108, financial manager, positive $35.20. 104, work crew supervisor, negative $24,920.16. 173, health insurance, positive 24,920.16, total transfer is zero.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Ryan, second by Dan. Any questions?
And I had a note that work crew supervisor left the middle of the year, and that position's not going to be filled, is that correct?
Correct.
All right, any further questions? Roll call, please.
Ms. Flanagan.
Yes.
Mr. Hughes.
Yes.
Mr. Cantz.
Yes.
Mr. Mokel.
Yes.
Mr. Webb.
Yes.
Mr. Whitehead.
Yes.
Ms. Piper.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, next would be Public Defender's Office, 139. B, 173, Legal Secretary, negative $2,550. C, 173, Legal Secretary, positive $2,550. Total transfer is zero.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Ryan, second by Dan. Any questions? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Ms. Flanagan.
Yes.
Mr. Hughes.
Yes.
Mr. Cantz.
Yes.
Mr. Mokel.
Yes.
Mr. Webb.
Yes.
Mr. Whitehead.
Yes.
Ms. Piper.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
All right, and over to our financials. Excuse me.
Okay, first up is County General, Public Defender's Office, 139. We have 172 perf, positive $17,850. 313 psychological testing, positive $3,325. 185 transcripts, positive $25,175. Total equals $46,350.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Ryan, second by Dan, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna have some questions for you today.
I'll get started. Shocker. Yeah. Big
I was
shocker,
waiting for Eugene.
Could you just run down here and tell me why you need this and what it's for?
Sure. The perf, apparently, when I prepared the budget for 2023, I'm sorry, Shelley Harvey, Public Defender's Office. Being someone who's not afraid to say she made a mistake, I made a mistake. I think I put, more money, I had extra money in FICA and then shorted myself in perf, so I think I had some things, switched. So I'm gonna need that money to get through the rest of the year and pay my perf. The psychological testing, same with Emily. When we have a defendant or a client who needs, to have a mental health evaluation, the typical way that gets started is the defense counsel requests a mental health evaluation. And, that comes out of, when it's just a single mental health evaluation for defense counsel purposes only. And then that, after we get that, tells us whether or not we move for a full mental health evaluation to see if, to move whether they're competent to stand trial. And that's where Emily's money takes over on those mental health evaluations. But the first one is usually ours. And just like Emily, I'm out. And I'm hoping this will get me through the rest of the year because, frankly, Dr. Hatfield is very willing, and that's who we have do those evaluations. He's very willing to work. So I've counted the number of evaluations I think I have outstanding. And then any that are ordered and done maybe in December, he'll let me pay. And I don't like to carry over money like that. I know we don't like to do that, but I'm just playing right on the edge here for the psych evals.
Well, if you made the mistake and you switched some numbers,
Mhm.
why don't we have $17,850 extra somewhere on the FICA?
I've taken a lot of money out of FICA to pay. I put money into perf. I've put money from FICA into other places too. It was just a mistake apparently last year. And when I went through the lines, after budget hearings, I went through the lines. I knew other accounts I was gonna be close, like transcripts, and I was not comfortable giving any money back, for this year. But then after the budget hearings, Kelly and I went through everything line by line, and these were the places I was gonna be short.
Can you refresh my memory? When we were asking all department heads to see if they can give back during the budget meetings?
Right.
Was you guys able to give us back any money?
No, that's why I didn't offer to give back, because I knew on a lot of these lines I was gonna be close. I didn't know how close or how far off I was gonna be. So, no, I did not give back any money.
Go ahead and cover transcripts, what that's for.
The transcripts, the last couple of years, council has asked me to back off a little bit in my my transcript balance, because we've had some at the end of the year where we've had money left. So through the last couple of years of budget hearings, I have taken what we used to put into our transcript fund, and it's been backed off a little bit. Well, this year with all the trials, like Emily has spoken about also, 100% of our public defender trials where our client is found guilty are appealed. And for that appeal to get started, we have to ask the court reporter to prepare a transcript. That is mandatory. And so I asked every court reporter in our courts how many transcripts they had left and how much they thought they were gonna cost. And at the end of those conversations with all of our court reporters, I think that this could get us by rest of the year.
How long have you been doing this, Michelle?
Since 2017.
I mean, there's no doubt that, you know, the balancing act that you guys have to pull off is ripe for, you know, issues like this to happen, right? I mean, in essence, so, I don't think anybody here would, you know, hold that against you or anybody for that matter, in most of these departments where you guys are juggling stuff on a regular basis, so.
Well, and we are as most departments, about 90% salary. We have very little to play with. We've had money to play with the last couple years because we've had so much turnover. But because you gave our public defenders fair salary, we've only had to replace one person this year, which has been a godsend and a blessing from you guys, trust me.
What about next year's budget for transcripts?
I believe we started at, I don't have it with me, and if the trials go the way they typically go, it should be fine. We're gonna have especially at the front of the year, we're gonna be top heavy with these trials because we're still catching up from COVID. And we're still catching up from cases with, multiple defendants where, you know, 2 or 3 of them go to trial. And so it's a very, very hard thing to predict. It all depends on how many cases go to trial. But in the last couple of years, I believe I've not asked for money in transcripts. I usually have money.
So if Eric's taking more people to trial or getting them to trial, they're getting guilty, you're automatically seeing a lot higher appeal.
Yes,
In some
would
respects.
you say 100% of our clients
Yeah.
that are found guilty?
Kelly Bryan, Chief Public Defender, that's exactly right. We work really hard and the system demands it. Plea bargaining gets a bad rap, but without plea bargaining, the system would collapse. And so we have a good relationship with Eric and his deputy prosecutors, and we work hard to try and resolve cases. But there are some cases, all you gotta do is read the newspaper. The shootings, the murders, the dealing causing death, those are the cases that go to trial. So if a defendant goes to trial, if the defendant is convicted, they've got an absolute constitutional right to appeal. The trials are audio taped, and so the rules of appellate procedure require that the court reporter type that up into a transcript, and it's outside our control. But by and large, I would say the cases that you see going to trial are death cases and the serious violent crime cases. That's just kind of how that works.
Happy to see.
We are catching up from COVID too.
I was a court reporter for 20 years, and I can tell you that a 5-day trial, which a lot of these dealing in deaths and murders are 5 days, the transcript, around $4,000 per transcript. So when we're having quite a few of these trials go, I think one payroll, because they go on payroll, the court reporters get paid for the transcripts on their payroll check and get their taxes taken out. I think one payroll, I paid out over $10,000 in transcripts.
These trials, take a long time. Most of them take at least 4 days, sometimes 5 days. One of your council members, I've tried 4 serious felony cases in the last 12 months, and one of your council members was on one of my juries, so he knows. Supposed to ask who it was. Look for the smile. As far as Shelley goes too, let me just put a plug in here. As far as the air, I know she feels bad about that. I cannot imagine anybody does what she does for our office. So, although she's not perfect, she's damn close.
The only people not making mistakes are the people not doing anything.
We're not telling the truth.
Right? That's probably closer.
In preparation for budget, you had anticipated what additional appropriations might be made in the second half of the year. Even with this additional appropriation in county general, we would still be under, no,
No.
or would we be?
I knew you were gonna ask me that, so I have my numbers here handy. And for July, August, September, and October, the total would be, including this, including what we're looking at today, the total would be 629, 231. I had put in for 550. That difference is 79,231.
So that would reduce the cash balance that we thought we would have at the end of the year.
Technically, yes.
Do we know of any additional variations in income between now and the end of the year that we're not sure of?
For this year,
Pretty much know what we're gonna get.
pretty much, I think so.
To the
I
best
think-
bet
I
would be
think people's
treasurer.
already received their like letters per se, you know, pertaining to anything we're getting this year and stuff.
Mr. Polks talked about the income we've been receiving from the, interest rates on our money that could
Right,
possibly
I mean, that's
fluctuate
always,
up and cover that,
exactly.
but
That's
there's no way to know.
And all of these expenses that I've asked for appropriations on are 40% reimbursable.
The 40%, you say?
Why didn't you start with that, Shelley?
So that would not be considered in the 79,000. We would get some additional reimbursement. Tanya, is that correct?
I believe that's what she's telling us.
Yeah.
I mean,
say all of it,
it may
Shelley?
not come in
40%.
until next
But
year.
all, every line?
It will not come in until
Yes, Matt.
early next year.
So what's that?
Stay on the books for this year.
Yeah, which is fine, I think that,
We're at what, 6,188,000?
so approximately 27,800 is coming back next year, reimbursed, of that 46,350. All right, roughly, Michelle?
Yes.
How much you say, Matt?
I think it's 27,810, but
Yes. That's not 40%, that's over 50.
that's
I
60,
got-
that's 60%.
18,540.
I got
Or, I'm sorry.
18,540.
I'm sorry, I did flipped it around. 27,810 is the spend.
Okay,
Yes.
makes more sense. Thank you, Matt. 18,540 would be reimbursed. 1,540. I think that comment of the finance committee in light of all that was that we, are certainly asking office holders and department heads not to bring any additional appropriations next month, unless they're absolutely necessary.
Any additional comments or questions or?
No, I mean, I'll reiterate what I think I was trying to imply before, which is basically that prosecutor's office is doing what I think needs to be done, and we're holding people accountable. It's costing us more money, but that ultimately is, and part of this is a result of that too, and I think that that's money well spent.
All right, roll call, please.
Mr. Flanagan.
Yes.
Mr. Hughes.
Yes.
Mr. Cantz.
Yes.
Mr. Mokel.
Yes.
Mr. Webb.
No,
Mr. Whitehead.
no offense.
Yes.
Ms. Piper.
Yes. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have treasurer 127, A 104, head cashier deputy, positive $989, total $989.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Ryan, second by Dan. Any questions on this one?
Yeah, I have a question. Why do we need $989?
Okay, Brad Holt, treasurer. My head cashier back in, earlier this year passed away, left a void in our office. And so she had time built up. She was a 25-plus year employee. Her time was not to run out until after the tax sale. But part of the head cashiers, what I had them do is to run the registration and collection of the tax sale money. And so we needed someone in there that was capable of doing that without taking away from the office. And so, we had to get them in and trained. It takes three to 4 weeks to train them. So we had to hire somebody in August to get them trained for the tax sale in September, on September 19th. So basically, if we continue and we don't get this, she's actually gonna run out of money, the last couple weeks of the year.
So if I'm understanding that correctly, your head cashier passed away,
Mhm.
and the time that she had accrued, extended several weeks out, and instead of waiting for that several weeks to run out until you hired someone, you went ahead and hired someone beforehand because you had to get
Yeah, we
someone in
had-
there for the tax sale.
Right.
So those salaries are overlapping,
Mhm.
and that's why it's not just a wash. Is that
Right,
is that
right.
right?
Yeah, it's not quite 2 weeks. It was, I think about 8 days because the new head cashier had already had some vacation planned from her previous job and prior, some prior commitments. So she will not get, she'll only get like 2 or 3 days paid, and then the rest she's taken as unpaid. For that, she kind of knew that when we hired her. We talked about that, and she was okay with a couple of days. But to do 2 weeks, single mom, I don't think she's gonna.
I think I think good job on thinking on your feet and getting someone in there. You always had to have someone. My question is, was there nowhere within your budget to transfer that out of?
There's not, no, there's not. Because with, part-time is gonna pretty much run out, right after tax collection time. So probably around Thanksgiving, it's gonna run out, so there wasn't the money there to transfer.
Brad, did you give us money back
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask next.
during our budget hearing?
I think you did.
I feel like you did.
The part-time?
No, remember. for the
I did give
givebacks.
money back,
Yeah.
yes, about $7,000 to $8,000 total,
Yeah,
something like
so,
that.
That was my next question, so.
Yeah.
Perfect.
all right, any additional questions? Roll call, please.
Ms. Flanagan.
Yes.
Mr. Hughes.
Yes.
Mr. Cantz.
Yes.
Mr. Mokel.
Yes.
Mr. Webb.
Grudgingly, yes.
Mr. Whitehead.
Yes.
Ms. Piper.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. Ryan, this is one of those circumstances where it's,
I mean, gave back
I
$8
mean,
grand.
well,
I mean, he would've had it, he wouldn't have.
if someone, I mean, if they hadn't passed away, it would have been a normal process, so.
Is that for general?
That's it for general. We're moving over into other.
Okay, first up is edit projects, 1112. We have line 300, edit projects. 1,500,000 for a total of $1,500,000.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Ryan, second by Dan. Any questions?
I have a couple. The first thing I wanna notice is, this is 1.5 million. If I'm looking at the, my sheet here, it says the balance is 1.4 million, 9,000 in the account. So how are we transferring 1.5 million? We only have 1.4 million.
No, that's the remainder after the 1.5.
No,
No, it's
it's
not.
not. And I didn't even catch that. 'Cause I was in a major hurry when I was doing this. However, wondering, does that include, we went over this, Sarah and I went over this. I'm, I think I have all the revenue. I'm pretty positive, like 99% sure I do have all the revenue through the end of the year accounted for in this sheet. So he is right, that's coming back at available 1.4 instead of 1.5.
So $91,000 short.
To look into that
Make sure
further,
your
that we
mistake
might
not
need
look
to
very big at
reduce-
all.
We might need to reduce that, then down to 1.4.
That's fine.
This is something that they do yearly. At the first of the year, money's encumbered. And then like early on, like February, this year it was March, they did 3 or 3.5? 3.5? 3.5, they appropriated. And that gets them through until like now. And they basically appropriate the rest of what is available in the edit for the year. And Ryan, I'm really sorry, I didn't even notice when I was just typing that up as fast as I could to get it out. She got it yesterday, to be honest, and I did not.
So we'd have to
Pay
make a
attention.
motion to amend then?
Yes.
Because I did not have this done prior to the finance meeting.
Bill, what are you saying?
We would
It
need to
says that
do 1.4.
That 4 million was appropriated. Looking at line 15,
Mm-hmm.
Eugene's gonna look it up.
And I believe that included encumbrance, didn't it? Yeah, I think that included the encumbrance.
4 million.
Yeah, it was 4 million in March.
Oh, instead of 3.5.
According to this.
Well, doggone it. Now I want to run downstairs and like check everything.
Eugene had the record from March.
And it does say 4?
Yeah. 4.
Okay, I don't know why I had 3.5 stuck in my head.
Where'd you pull that out?
Just had it sitting there.
He's Ron Quakenbush, he brings his whole filing
I
cabinet.
guess so. Yeah, I did.
Let's amend it to either the balance or to 1.4. Sarah said she could do 1.4. I mean, always can come back next month and appropriate whatever's left.
Balance would be easy.
I'll make the motion to amend it to 1.409, well, $1,409,348.
Second.
All right, motion to amend by Ryan, second by Dan. Roll call?
Mr. Flanagan.
Yes.
Mr. Hughes.
Yes.
Mr. Cantz.
Yes.
Ms. Mokel.
Yes.
Mr. Webb.
Yes.
Mr. Whitehead.
Yes.
Ms. Piper.
Yes. All right, now I'll entertain a
Real fast, I had just a couple more questions now that we've got
Okay.
over that hurdle.
Okay,
Okay, so I remember Jessica sent out some notes from the finance meeting and said, I think this was 18 projects, some edit
Yep.
projects. Can you tell me what those projects are, like how much each project is?
I can get you a list of it. I don't know them off the top of my head. There's like, they're for like the bonds. There's some for the towns. That's where we pay Brad out of. There's 18 of them. I can't think of all of them off the top of my head, but I can get you that information.
Okay,
and they mentioned in our finance meeting that they could provide that to us, so, and this is, I mean, it's their edit money, we don't really get any purview of the edit. It's
Yeah,
economic development, I know that bothers you,
well, I mean, I get it, I just,
but,
not that it bothers me, I just feel like that's our job is to, I mean, you're asking me to vote for money for projects that I don't know what the projects are or how much they cost, so if someone calls me up and says, why'd you vote for that, I gotta be able to explain that.
I can
So
get it to
I'm
you.
just curious what it
You and
was.
Jessica should have seen that plan, because you voted to approve it last time.
Right, so I'm just asking for a refresher for the record, so.
Yeah, we'll have Sarah email you the plan, and that way the new, council members that haven't seen it, they'll be
Right.
able to see it.
So are you saying that this is a part of the, original plan that we had voted on back in
Yeah,
March? This is just the second half, the continuation of that?
yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, if you could, please.
We'll send it to
I
you.
would appreciate having that. Thank you.
All right, roll call, please.
Ms. Flanagan.
Yes.
Mr. Hughes.
Yes.
Ms. Cantz.
Yes.
Ms. Mokel.
Yes.
Mr. Webb.
Yes.
Mr. Wyatt.
Yes.
Ms. Piper.
Yes,
Thank you, guys.
thank you. Moving on.
So, is the understanding we're gonna come back next month and we'll do the difference?
If they need
They want
to,
it.
yeah, if they need to, and it's,
Or once they figure out whatever the numbers were?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
If it
we
comes
did the
back to
balance,
this,
1,000,000,
won't be
409.
If it comes back, that's the number, then.
Right.
we're
We
good.
all did get the edit plan. We did, because I asked for it and Tanya had sent it out. There's a workbook and then there's also reports for 2023 that we received, the statements of the,
Kylan sent
I think
it
it was
out.
Denise, yeah.
Going without, that at some point in the system, we've got the plan. I think it's beneficial for the council when we're voting on it to have that in front of us as well.
I don't
There's nothing
disagree.
wrong with
I
getting it
think that
twice.
we should be having more meaningful reporting sent to us on a regular basis like that. But that's maybe a conversation for another day.
I can send you everything that's approved through the commissioner's office, through
Yeah.
the commissioner's meetings.
That would work.
Yeah, I mean, like this was a ledger from 1/1 to 9/30. If we got a monthly one, that would be awesome. You know what I mean? Every month, just,
Well, they have meetings 2 times a
A month.
month, so I can just.
yeah, but just run the ledger once a month and the transactions and
I
send
believe
them
they're
out.
already on the website.
What's that?
All those were uploaded on the website already.
Now, that website is not very
They are?
user-friendly to navigate.
All the meeting notes for all the meetings.
All right, well.
The minutes, but
We can chat about that.
they don't
Offline.
include contracts. Approved contracts, there's no data
Yeah.
in that information.
Not like,
Numbers, like,
They
yeah.
check box totals, they don't give you the line items in the meetings. Am I wrong?
I don't believe so.
no, you're not wrong.
All right,
So that's,
moving on, please.
Okay. Gal Casa, 1212, 196 overtime, positive 2,150, 84, total 2,150, 84.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Ryan, second by Dan. Any questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Ms. Flanagan.
Yes.
Mr. Hughes.
Yes.
Mr. Cantz.
yes.
Ms. Mokel.
Yes.
Mr. Webb.
Yes.
Mr. Wyatt.
Yes.
Ms. Piper.
Yes. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Public Defender Supplemental Fund. This is actually Fund 1200, not 247. Line 211, $2,500, total $2,500.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Hey, Shill, sorry.
Oh, motion by Ryan, second by Dan. Is that you? Okay.
Hey, Shelley, this is actually, I'm sorry, can I ask about a previous thing? If nothing else, just to clarify, you had sent an email like on the 2nd of October about the previous things we were just dealing with.
Right.
And there was there a mention about ARP money?
We are paying, ARP money was to,
You said there was 36 grand in a ARP fund appropriated primarily to pay contract attorneys because of the backlogs. Prior to finance will be seeking permission to use a portion of that money to fund a portion of the transcript and or psych accounts. Did that
Right.
ever happen?
I've talked to some people who said that we would need to get some reappropriation to designate that transcript money for ARP money. In the meantime, we had a gentleman who is on 2 different murder cases, submit bills that were totaling about $20,000 from May to now, and I paid him out of ARP money, so I don't have a lot of ARP money left.
Okay, all right, I just wanted to bring that up.
I appreciate that.
Supplies.
Yes, And this, I always pay for my office supplies through the year, from my 1,200 supplemental fund. I am out of office supply money because I've explained, we pay the attorneys for copies so that we don't have to put the wear and tear on our copiers. When we have 20 attorneys that we would be copying discovery from, which are large packets of information, we turned that over, made the attorneys started making their own copies, so we do pay them. So when this says office supplies, most of it is to get the law firms that have billed me for copies, to get them paid up for the copies that they've made.
Any further questions?
So is this going to be something that we've already appropriated into next year's budget?
I usually, since this is my supplemental fund, and I'm drawing out of that, I usually appropriate, I think it's $5,000. But knowing at the end of the year, I may have to come back for supplemental fund money to pay off the rest of the copies to the attorneys.
So
And she's
next
got
year,
plenty of money in there, if you look at this sheet here. And this is outside of county general, keep that in mind too. This fund, yeah. I mean, there's over 120,000 in that account.
But you're limited in what you can use that for. That has to be approved by the state board, is that correct?
Correct. And it just so happens office supplies, when our plan was set up with the state board, for some reason, they let office supplies in, so I've never had to ask county general for office supply money.
Okay, any further questions? Hearing none, roll call please.
Ms. Flanagan.
Yes.
Mr. Hughes.
Yes.
Ms. Cantz.
Yes.
Ms. Mokel.
yes.
Mr. Webb.
Yes.
Mr. Whitehead.
Yes.
Mr. Piper.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, next is Sheriff Operation Pullover. We also have this in the funds as juvenile DUI grant. It's 8109 is the number. And we're looking at 101 DUI grant, Operation Pullover, positive $30,000, total $30,000.
Motion to approve?
Second?
Motion by Ryan, second by Dan. TJ, if you'd like to just kind of talk about how this grant works.
Right, Captain Tony Johnson, Delaware County Sheriff's Office. I oversee the current grant as we use it. This is a federal grant. It is from the Indiana Criminal Justice Institute. It pays deputies to do traffic enforcement on Indiana roadways to keep motorists safe is the overall objective of the grant. We do projects for Operation Pullover for OWI. We do aggressive driving that we target, and we also target seatbelt enforcement. This grant is 100% reimbursable by the state. The state has had problems getting people to volunteer for these grants because they can go elsewhere and make more money doing other security work. So this past year, they increased our wage to a double time rate. And when you go to a double time rate, you could get people that want to work Operation Pullover. So we have significantly seen an increase in those people that want to work the grant. We have the money for the grant. The grant's 100% reimbursed by the state. But at the beginning of the year, I foresaw that we would spend no more than $30,000 for this grant. And we have hit that limit as of, I believe, September, maybe even August. So right now, I'm asking for an increase in that grant to get us through the year. I'm asking for another $30,000. I can spend close to $10,000 a month for the Operation Pullover grant for that enforcement.
How much is the total grant?
The total grant that I've secured is $121,000. My question is very similar to what we talked about a minute ago with commissioners. We're asking for $30,000, but the balance I see on here is $6,188.
And then if you subtract the 4,606, for the overspent amount already, it's spent more than appropriated, I should say. equals really 1,582 is the actual cash balance. The reason it's working like that is because, one, he didn't know he was going to be needing that for salaries, and then, like he said, he got a lot more people. And so he wasn't clear on the, having it appropriated beforehand kind of thing, and salaries paid out, so therefore, he's paid out just a tad bit more than he actually had appropriated. So, that's that end of it, but then we have a letter downstairs in the auditor's office from the state through him confirming that we will receive 121,274.85. So that's why I put in your email, minus 30,000 that he's asking for right now. So he's saying this will get him through the end of this year. And then come the new year, he can appropriate the remainder of that 121 at 91,274.85. And hopefully that'll get him through, September 30th, right?
So
Because the grant is from October 1st of this year to September 30th of next year.
So you're saying that currently that's the balance, but that we have a pledge for the 121,000. So we're gonna go ahead and basically okay this, if it gets okayed, knowing that that pledge is out there that's gonna be coming in to cover it.
Because we do, the letter does not state when we will receive that money, but it does state that we will receive that money.
As I understood it, this is a reimbursement grant, so you have to spend the money before they'll reimburse you. They don't send you the money ahead of time.
Is it
It's
this
one
year?
hundred percent reimbursable.
Yeah,
So like,
yeah,
you
I'm a-
spend it, they're gonna give it to you.
I'm all in favor of it. I just was curious about the difference in the
How do
number.
we pay the
I understand.
deputies? How do we pay the deputies out of this fund? Is it like a bonus?
No, it comes out of your county general, it comes out of no, actually, it comes out of a grant line. My understanding is it's paid out of the county general fund, and when it's reimbursed, it reimburses back into the county general fund.
You said that they're giving us that reimbursement. We don't know about when. Or do we know if it's coming at least before the end of the year?
What was the cadence on that? Do we know, like, how
Uh,
often they were
well,
making payments?
Yeah, until this year, we've always ran that grant, with Muncie City. They've actually ran the lion's share of it. This year, I applied for the grant for Delaware County. So starting this year, starting October 1st, when we got our award letter, this is our grant for the deputies of Delaware County. Since that time, I believe, Mr. Carroll, we've been in contact with the state. They have sent us the links to set up the transfer systems, and we're getting those in place right now.
And just for the record, this goes into 8109 and is paid out of 8109. It doesn't go to general
Right.
and transfer and all
That's
that.
right. That confused me when we started talking about county general.
Oh,
because
okay.
this
No,
stays
no.
in the grant, right?
Correct.
Okay.
All right, any further
As long
questions?
as we're all good, that's all that matters.
I got a question.
Yeah.
So the sheriff's officers that are gonna be used for this, does this cause any hardship then with scheduling while they're doing this operation?
None at all. No, they work it on their time off.
Sure, but my question is, if the officer is working this and works 8 hours, then are they more likely to call in sick or be off anytime in the next shift or two because of working this extra time?
No, that would be addressed. That doesn't happen.
Okay. Thank you.
Sir.
And then you, if you do that, you're taking a lot of your overtime, and then what you work really doesn't really balance out anyway. So, my experience working in manufacturing, when guys work that overtime, they absolutely don't want to call off because they know that that money's coming out of that overtime. It's not a regular, you're not calling off on 8 hours, now you're calling off on time and a half, or in this case, it'd be double time. It would pull away from it, so. You guys got enough cars for all that? Everybody can run their regular shift and still do that?
I have a question. As you get through a calendar year, what do you typically see in regards to, I don't want to say arrest, but violations? Can you tell me how many violations you might find through the course of time?
Well, we average approximately 3 contacts per hour. Contact is a traffic stop. It's a contact with a motorist on a roadway.
Whether the deputy cites or gives a warning or whatever they do, that's on their discretion. But in the meantime, we'll find drivers that are suspended. We'll find drivers that have warrants. I actually worked it yesterday morning, and the first driver I pulled over had a warrant out of Shelby County for an arrest. So the very first stop. So, on the DUI side, we see a lot of DUI arrests made under that program. Generally, I limit those to Fridays, Saturdays, when impaired drivers are more likely to be out, or holidays, where you might see an increase in drivers that might be out. So just to clarify, this isn't a checkpoint, this is just putting more
is
officers
not
on
a
the roads, doing more patrolling.
Yep.
Right. Good deal.
All right, roll call, please.
Mr. Flanagan.
Yes.
Mr. Hughes.
Yes.
Mr. Cantz.
Yes.
Mr. Mokel.
Yes.
Mr. Webb.
Yes.
Mr. Whitehead.
Yes.
Ms. Piper.
Yes. All right. Someone would like to read the
Motion to
magic,
approve financial transfers and to amend salary ordinance with like reductions. Second.
motion by Eugene, second by Dan. Roll call, please.
Mr. Flanagan.
Yes.
Mr. Hughes.
Yes.
Mr. Cantz.
Yes.
Mr. Mokel.
Yes.
Mr. Webb.
Yes.
Mr. Whitehead.
Yes.
Ms. Piper.
Yes. All right, moving on to ordinance and resolutions. We have none this month, which then moves us on to appointments and committee reports. Earlier this year, the county council adopted a set of rules that we are abiding by. So I do want to take this time and thank all the department heads for adjusting to that and making sure that we have representation at finance committee and here in the meetings. I know we've been able to make accommodations where people have acted as a liaison, or we've made some phone calls to make sure people could participate in finance. So thank you for that. Another bullet point in our council rules is the process in which we do our board appointments. And part of that is having our list for our October meeting. So Denise had sent that over to me. I'm going to read through it now. I think I have a question on one of them, Denise, and then we'll need to make sure we get the meeting dates and times and locations correct, because I know one of the boards I sit on has changed before we get that posted out for the public. But those boards include, let's see, the Alcohol Beverage Board is an annual term. So I know we just did that, but that's an annual term. We have Animal Control.
And real quick, Jessica, are these one seat per?
This is one, yeah, this is just one. I see a party affiliation on here, so I want to talk to Ben to make sure to see if we can find out if they are party weighted or not before they get shared and posted out there for folks to participate in. But we have one alcohol beverage board. It's currently held by a Republican. We have one animal control. It's a 3-year term, currently held by a Republican. This is a vet. So, I believe that board requires having veterinarians on that board. So again, we'll need to confirm on the legal side, where we stand on that. Community corrections, my term is up, and I do not wish to sit on that again. However, I believe that has to be held by a council member. The next is one for the Delville Economic,
Is that a 3-year term?
that's a 3-year term. Yes, thank you. And once I get this cleaned up, I'll make sure I email it out to all of you as well.
Real fast, did you say that we appoint these in the January meeting?
December now.
December,
Rules
okay.
are now in our December meeting. Yep, so we'll get to that here in a second too. Next up is Daleville Economic Development Board. It's an annual appointment. It has never met.
Huh?
They've never met, but we have an appointment, but they've never met. Next up is the EMA Advisory Board. That is currently held by Councilman Cantz, and I believe that is also a council member position.
Is that an annual?
That is, it's blank there, so I'll need to find out.
I think when you're suggesting if it's annual or 3-year, I think it's because Ballard held that before. and he
No, that's
was gone.
911.
Oh, okay, all right, then never mind, I don't know what I'm talking about.
It lists a Fair Board appointment on here, but I thought last year we made an exception and voted for Bart Kiesling before the other two. board appointments because we wanted to make sure he was in place because he does all the moving of the dirt and stuff at the fair. So I'm not sure that he's up
We did do that early, like in like November or something like that, December.
to make sure he was, so I'm not sure, so I want to double check on that one.
Are those 4 years or?
3. So I don't think that he's up because I remember making a special,
Yeah, we did make a.
accommodation for that one. We have 3. Mm-hmm. We have 2 on the Housing Authority, 1 Democrat, 1 Republican. They are 4-year terms. Next up is Redevelopment Commission. They are an annual. I'm only seeing 2, but I think we have 3. Stand by. It only shows 2. All right. 2 of those.
2 are coming up. And then what?
They're annual.
What is the political breakdown on that one then?
I have 1 D and 1 R.
And do they have to be that?
We need to double check.
If it's written on there like that.
Then we probably do.
I
If
was
you
gonna
had
say,
the
if they-
letter,
If they inform you what their affiliation is, I would assume.
good call. Thank you, Denise.
But
Next up is Regional Wastewater. It's a 4-year term. We have a Republican appointment. And then last on the list is Yorktown Economic Development Commission, currently held by Councilman Flanagan on an annual term. And there's an R by his name, so it must be balanced as well. That's what I have.
What about this, community, Yorktown Library that's
We did that already. That was,
already done?
yeah, her
So
term
that term
now
now expires,
in 27.
I have another question.
Yes.
Are there any, so these are all that we're gonna, appoint on December. Are there any other, boards that come due between January, December that, because our rules say
24?
that we go over at the October meeting, so how would we address? any
I
of
filtered
those?
her list for any date that contained 24.
Okay, so that's everything then.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing. I mean, I filtered it for, that ends in 23, so you, hold on, let me filter it for 24. That's a good call.
Because I thought I remember us.
But we
making an
will do
appointment in the
those,
middle of the year at one
we'll
point.
do those kind of the same thing where we'll announce a couple months ahead.
Once.
Mm-hmm, for our,
The Civic Center Authority expires in
Yes.
August of 24.
yes, we have 2 appointments to Civic Center Authority that will be,
We do it like June-ish,
yeah,
somewhere around there.
yeah.
Okay, so basically the formula would be not necessarily, for most of them, it's in October, but basically it's 2 to 3 months in advance.
Yeah,
2
that's
months in
what our
advance.
rules state. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Then the Muncie Library Board would have 2 that expire in June of next year. The DNR.
So what I'd like to do is, once I verify, I also want to make sure I contact all these boards to confirm the meeting times and meeting locations. I know Community Corrections, what has been on our spreadsheets for a while, was saying that we met monthly, like the second Wednesday at 4 PM. Well, we don't any longer. It's the second Wednesday of odd months at noon. So I want to make sure we have all of these times, accurate before we post it on social media and such, so people know what the time commitment is to these different boards and when they meet to make sure they have availability to actually attend those meetings, because attendance is important. If people don't have good attendance, those, boards should be coming back to us to let us know so we can get in contact, and if we need to reappoint, we can, but,
I have one more question.
Yep.
So when, Mitch Isaacs came in a few months ago and asked for the recommendations, that won't have anything to do with us as far as future appointments, right? We were just giving him names of recommendations.
that was
For his
for,
committee?
that was for a specific board, that was for his.
Together DM.
Yes, the
Yeah.
Together DM board, that's a completely different board, and they've already met.
He also,
But we won't have any appointments in that going forward. We just give them some names so they can get it kicked off.
I think that's.
yeah, that's not, yeah. that's not our.
Yeah, it's not like an official
Okay,
Indiana code. We have to do that. That was just more of a courtesy. Here's some folks to get you going.
gotcha. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Mitch also brought up
Portal.
the portal that they have that has, you know, people who have volunteered names that, you know, again, I think we're well ahead of it this year finally. So, you know, we can look at that when the time comes.
Now, along with when we make this posting, I know part of our rules stated that we could have an application process. Is that something we want to consider? Like, I know last year I personally asked for, like, obviously their name, we needed a party affiliation, if that was pertinent to what board they wanted to be on, what their qualifications were that made them qualified to be a good servant on a board. Is that something we still want to ask for, or Bill, you look like you might have some comments?
Well, my first comment would be, as you indicated, you did not wish to be reappointed to community corrections. We probably are, in my opinion, we would want to contact the current people on those boards and gauge whether or not they have any interest. If they do, they need to go through the
Right.
same process as everyone else, and I think there should be, it doesn't need to be a formal application, but as you say, just the basic information that, you know, once we have a list, we can go back and ask questions if we want to know more, but contact information and, you know, their expertise or level of interest in what board they might be considering.
I'm sorry, what was that? For what? Yeah, I believe that has to be a council member, and it's me.
Right. So I mean, who would we send it to besides council?
Well, he's saying about any of the other boards, so like,
Oh, okay.
like Brent
Okay.
Cheatham
I
in
got you.
Daleville. He's been our board appointment since I've been on council, but they've never met. But he's always happy to serve when the time comes, right? And then, you know, so like, well, like, we've got Joe Boyce with the regional wastewater, so I'll contact her and be like, are you still interested? Because we'll make sure we have her on our list, right? So that's what he's referring to, just making sure.
And those of us that don't know who those people are, we would want to have the same information from them that we would get
Correct.
from anyone else.
All right, so name, contact information, party affiliation, interest level, and qualifications.
Contact information.
Yep. Okay, and I did. Mm-hmm.
Would,
And will you have that emailed to Denise? Denise, we'd publish your email, is that okay? Or would you, that way you get them? Okay,
are we gonna provide any, opportunity for anyone who wants to be considered for a board to possibly attend the December meeting and introduce themselves or anything, or just submit names?
I'm not opposed to having people come. I mean, what's the pleasure of the rest of the council?
Yeah, I think that should be, I think that's fair.
I mean,
Just keep
names
it
on a
short,
sheet.
right?
yeah,
Like,
just short, I'm
yeah.
so-and-so, I'm interested in the board, thank you for your consideration.
Yeah.
Something real
We've done that in the
simple.
past. We've had them come and speak.
Should we do it in November, because we want to make so we can have time to digest it?
Have them,
I'm just throwing that out there.
And then we gotta make our deadline.
no, because our deadline per our rules is by December 1st, I think. So no, let's
Okay.
just keep it at December
It
for
wouldn't be a
now. If we need to
requirement.
admit, we'll see how it goes.
It would just be a-
And if we don't like how that plays out in December, we can amend our rules next year to do it a little differently moving forward. I
You're
mean,
always free to come to public comment in November and address you,
Yeah,
as would anybody else if they want to in
good point,
November.
good point. Yeah, and it wouldn't necessarily be just a requirement, just be
yeah,
if someone
and-
wanted
yeah.
to put their face in front of us, give them an opportunity. Well, either way, I'm really thrilled that we've made it this far, and kudos to Bill and Ms. Jane for really including this in the rules, because this is something I've been wanting us to do for a long time, so I'm glad we're getting to that point.
All right, so then that's what I'll do. I'll get those things, cleaned up. I'll work with Ben to make sure, because I know some of these are Indiana code related, and I started to kind of dig into that. And then once we get something, I'll get like an infographic or something over to Kyle to get on Facebook, and we can publish wherever else, you know, we can, on the, county website or whatever, so we can get some folks. So that's what we got to work with. Cool?
I like it.
All right. New business. So under new business, we have a bullet called Code of Conduct Committee. I've had multiple people reach out to me looking to establish a county council code of conduct. I'm not opposed to that. I think that if we're going to tackle something like that, it'd be nice to have a committee together to do that. I know Eugene and I've had some
Volunteer to
conversations
be on
about
that.
it. You volunteer to be on that committee? All right. Anyone else? You can have up to 3.
I would guess, before you even start taking volunteers for it, I would like to know, like, what is it? I mean, we have a council rules, but what is a code of conduct committee? What are the enforcement capabilities of?
Well, they're not gonna be enforcing, they're gonna create the actual code of conduct that we would then vote on and make it officially our council code of conduct. They don't have any authority to make anything,
We won't have any enforcement capabilities.
thank you, that's the word I was looking
That's
for.
my point, though. If we're not having enforcement
No,
capabilities.
we're just presenting the rules that the council will have the enforcement committee.
Right, like, so we have a code of ethics and such in the county handbook.
Right.
It's there, but as elected officials, it doesn't necessarily pertain to us because it isn't necessarily enforceable. This is more just optics to the public saying like, look, this is how we're going to conduct business. This is how we're going to conduct.
It's almost like the rules we made, but different.
I get that.
Look at the rules we adopted, but different.
But to Jessica's point, I know what it is as far as, it's to look like we're doing something, but without any real teeth to it or enforcement capabilities, that's all it is a image.
This is, they need to present the ideas.
The council as a whole would
The council
have
as a whole will be the enforcement.
authority
You,
pursuant
me,
to statute.
or him, him.
We can go
We'll be the
over in future if you have
enforcement body.
questions about
We're
that
just making the
specifically, but-
rules that we.
I don't know.
enforce.
Hold that thought. So hold on. So then what is it? What are the statutes that?
I can't recite them off the top of my head, but as a body, you do have the ability to essentially, I don't want to use the term punish, but you do have some oversight under certain circumstances over the membership of the council or actions. Or, it's hard to come up with a
Right.
hypothetical off the top of my
So
head.
this committee would be responsible for
Creating the document.
reviewing all of that, determining what a code of conduct requirements may be, right? And then for the
The
council
committee
to
is
then
whatever
vote.
you want the committee to be, but
Well, I mean, to Ryan's point, I guess I'm curious as to, the optics of it is one thing and the actual reality of what it can do and provide is another. So if the committee is being built to review those type of potential, rules, if you want to call it, because code of conduct means rules of some sort. So what do they have authority to actually, if that is passed by the full council, what is that code of conduct actually able to authorize or to allow council to take action on? Somebody does something personally, what is it, something done in a meeting? What are the restraints that they have, that kind of stuff? So all that could be outlined by this committee.
what I would assume is the committee would come together much like the original committee on drafting the rules for the meetings and come up with proposed rules of conduct for members of the council. And there would be some debate and they could be amended. Eventually you come up with a list of rules for your code of conduct. I think it, generally speaking, would be appropriate to be separate from the rules because the rules are more specific to conducting your actual, regular and special meetings. And fulfilling your actual duties. This would be more on just your individual conduct, well, your conduct in the position that you hold as well as potentially individually, I mean, whatever the body votes on. And then once those rules are adopted, the enforcement would still be done by the board or the council as a body pursuant to the enforcement authority given to you by statute, which generally speaking, and I don't have it in front of me, under normal circumstances, as the case may be, there could be a resolution that was passed condemning the breach of the code of conduct, something like that. The council has very limited authority to actually
remove or expel a member, and that requires, pretty significant breach of official duties. That would even go beyond personal. So I can certainly go over that in more detail. I don't have it in front of me at the moment, but that's the
I
very
think that better
general-
defines what is being asked, so that's helpful.
I would think that the committee is going to want input from all the council members, input from the public. Exactly what should our expectations be as far as our conduct as members of this council? With that understanding, I would volunteer to be on the committee.
All right, we got Eugene and Bill, anyone else?
I'll go with Bill, because I enjoyed working with him.
All right, so our committee consists of Eugene, Bill, and Dan.
Eugene is the chairman.
Eugene is the chairman, all right.
So I want to
Second.
I want to make a comment in regards to this committee. So, I don't think anyone in this room is questioning who sitting up here would be under question of as far as the code of conduct, because I am the most outspoken elected official in the entire county, and I have very strong opinions that I openly speak out about. Now, if we're talking about code of conduct, as far as how you conduct your business, official business, such as conflict of interest, awarding contracts to family members or something like that, I'm all for that. But if we're talking about code of conduct for personal opinions, I'm very, very vocal. I believe in two genders. I don't believe a man can be a woman, a woman can be a man, and I'm open about that. That could be offensive to someone, and they think that's a violation of code of conduct. And I'm not going to filter myself, in my opinion, when I'm speaking in reality and truth, based off of a committee. So when we're talking about fairness and being reasonable as far as how someone should conduct business, I'm all for that. But if it's about whether someone's opinion thinks that someone else's opinion is offensive, then I see a lot of conflict in the future.
Let's let the committee get to work, and, all of the members of the council have an opportunity to weigh in
Fair enough.
on what they're coming up with on hopefully a regular basis. Might keep us attuned as to kind of how things are going. And I guess I have another question in regards to that.
Yeah.
Ben, if are other boards, are there code of conducts, other council boards, county council, are they already in existence? We're not gonna be reinventing the wheel. I would think that there's already code of conduct out there for us to look at, not us, but the committee to look at. And
From other county councils, or?
I can speak about city
I would assume
council.
there are. I don't.
I was told city council approved one back in like 2008.
Okay,
They had
good,
a law
good.
firm that helped with theirs, so that,
City council?
yes, so that's
Yeah, they're
something you
doing an
can,
ethics committee for the entirety of city government,
so this is a code of conduct,
what they're doing.
not to be confused with the ethics committee. This is a code of conduct that they adopted in '08, I believe.
For the city council.
Mhm. So we'll want to try to find that example, but that's what I was told by a prior city council member.
And there's probably others out there.
2008, I have to look. You may struggle to find that readily available. You may have to go to the clerk's office. We may have to
Okay.
talk with the city clerk, just because all of the city's records, ordinances and things they pass in their meetings are available through Muni Code. I don't know if they go back that far. I'll have to look.
All right, well, we've got our committee, so, moving forward at our meetings under appointments and committee reports, and that's when that committee could give us updates on what they're doing or what they found or whatever. Moving on, elected officials and department heads. As Emily comes up, I'm going to go ahead and do this for our HR department. Pam just wanted me to remind everyone that until 11 a.m., so you've just got like 13 minutes, you can get your flu shot down in the HR office. Then from 11:30 to 1:30, you can get flu shots at the Justice Center in the HR office, and then from 2 to 3, they'll be in the highway department. So if those times don't work for you, get in touch with HR and they will help you get your flu shot. You're up.
Good morning. Emily Anderson, Court Administrator. So I am the reason the copiers got brought up, so you can blame me.
Oh, okay.
Weber reached out to me and told me that all of mine have had high call volumes. And so when I got that call, I contacted the commissioners. I'm like, hey, are you guys gonna help replace copiers? Because I have 8 copiers just in the, or 7 copiers just in the courts. And they're like, no, we don't have the funds for that. They had purchased all of our copiers back in the first round. So when
Purchased, not leased, right?
Right, these were all purchased and then they have this maintenance agreement. So I have started looking into this. Now, I have records of why he says we didn't replaced. One, the age. Most of mine were purchased in 14 and 15. And they have over 500,000, 4 to 500,000
old
copies. Yes. When you say, well, why do we need to purchase them? Like, why are we looking at this? Well, I don't want to be in a spot next year where one goes down and can't be fixed again, right? And then I'm coming to you asking for $5,000 out of county general. So that is why we've started looking at these, because a lot of us are going to be at end of life. And the calls that we've had was beyond the paper issue. These were calls that we had beyond the paper issue. These were calls where the rollers need cleaned and it's sticking and like all this stuff happens and they have to come out and maintain it. So I'm not gonna look at other options, but my problem is if I go look at another option, I don't have that maintenance agreement, then now I'm looking at having to spend money to have somebody come out and fix it that I don't have a maintenance agreement
And
with.
it's not on you, Emily, because it's not your responsibility to negotiate that contract.
I know,
The responsibility is with the commissioners to negotiate a better contract.
right,
Because ultimately, we're locked into, and it's always weighed, right? It's you buy and hold a maintenance agreement, that costs one thing. And then there's a lease agreement, which includes a maintenance, and it includes replacement
right.
costs associated with that. So I'm sure on a year-to-year basis, it's probably more predictable to do a lease maintenance/replacement agreement so that we're not 10 years down the road. The unpredictable nature of the spend is coming forth now when you've got you have 8, but I'm sure there's a dozen more somewhere.
Well, I have, just in the courts, I have 7, then I have probation with 2, I have CASA with
Yeah,
1, so I have
yeah.
10, 11 right there. But I will tell you, I've asked about leasing options through Weber, but I don't have money in my budget to do a lease. It's $109 a month. It's gonna cost me $2,000 more overall to purchase it that way. And so,
But it could be less in the long run if your maintenance agreements were to be rolled in and not have to.
but then I don't have it in my budget either. I
No,
don't
I
have
know,
$6,000.
This is not a discussion for
Yeah,
next
but I'm
year,
just saying, I have looked at other things. Also, Dan said at Weber that if prosecutor and I go in, he might be able to get the numbers down. So if we purchase multiple copiers.
I am all for,
So I'm just letting you know, like, we're looking into it.
Yeah.
But I don't know that there's a good way of going away from what we already have. And I'm not opposed to looking at other options. I just don't know if there's a way to look at other.
and I mean, I'm just gonna sound horrible, but, and I'm all for supporting local businesses, but in the case of county government, one supplier exists in Muncie, Delaware County. That is not,
That's kind
that
of
is
my
not a
issue
way
too.
to keep
Yeah.
our costs down.
Right, so if I go
So-
to like Best Buy and get a
That's not
copier or,
No offense to
Yeah.
Weber Office Supply, but nonetheless, we're
right,
not, we're not
So-
shopping it around.
right, so that's another thing, where do I find another quote or?
Yeah.
So,
And again.
I just wanted, like,
it's not
I'm
you.
the reason this all started, I'm sorry, but that was because they told me, look, your copiers are in bad shape, and they are. I get a lot of,
10 years is a
courts
long
calling
time
me,
on a
telling me, oh, it's down again, so. But I do wanna let you know, like, we're not just gonna go buy them, we're looking at them, and looking at our budgets now, because, it's end of year. That's when we try to find money within our budgets at the end of the year, and that's why we started looking at them.
I would also, just advise, if that's the right word. I think I heard earlier, somebody mentioned that they bought copiers or something, and now one doesn't talk to the other one, or they don't exchange information properly, and so I think we've already got that problem going on out at the Justice Center. I don't want to get involved in having copiers that won't copy a certain size or whatever is going on.
Yeah, you have to make sure they're compatible with the network, so there's all kinds of things, just like when you're buying a computer. You have to make sure it's compatible with the network, so going with the copiers we already have, we know that they're
We have a meeting
compatible.
here.
So it's a lot of stuff that goes into it for sure.
Like I told Emily in finance, I'd rather have a heads up than a surprise, so,
I'm trying to keep them to come back when one dies
right,
and say, look, I need $5,000, I don't have it.
right.
Then that's why I've started looking into it now and hoping that maybe I can find at least enough money for one copier or maybe two if I can. So, so just informational purposes, kind of where we're coming from on the copies or the copiers.
Appreciate that,
All
thank
right.
you.
Thanks.
Any other elected officials or department heads?
Real quick, I forwarded everybody this thing from the EMA, relative to the solar eclipse.
Yes.
And the planning that's taking part, as part of that, the guidance that's been put out. It's Delaware County specific in a good chunk, but there's also a ton of information relative statewide, and I'm sure Tony and others have seen this, but it's pretty interesting reading, actually, just in terms of the logistical, challenges to be expected in April when this solar eclipse comes over Muncie. So take a look at it if you get a second.
Okay. From the public comment, we had one individual sign up, CS Hendershot.
Yeah, she had to leave.
Okay,
And so she left these here, and they say Schaefer Leadership Academy.
oh, okay.
So anyone who wants one, they're up here. I don't really
One of their
know what it
programs.
pertains to.
Okay. Anyone else from the public? I don't think we have any public here currently any longer.
So for that
Moving
30
on
minutes.
to comments from the council. Do we have any from the council?
Oh, sorry.
Bill. I have a couple of comments.
Yes,
Excuse me, one arising out of our budget process. We have a line item from, under the commissioner's budget for Meridian Services. We were told that this had to be the amount per the state, was $702,359. But what occurred to me is we had a lot of discussion about what Meridian Services did not do. For instance, the psychological testing that we've just appropriated almost $20,000 for additional testing at this meeting. But it was never clear to me exactly what they do under their contract with the county. I don't know if they provide an annual report or a monthly report or anything, but I, for one, would like to kind of know what we're getting for our money. If the commissioners have any information, that would be fine. Otherwise, I'd suggest maybe Ben could contact Meridian Services and say, would you like the opportunity to come before the council and tell us about yourself?
I think that would be great.
That's just my thought on that. The other item, we've had discussion before the council regarding the solar farms. And I wanted to point out that on November 2nd, the Plan Commission is going to have a public hearing regarding amendments to the zoning ordinance provisions for large solar installations. I have not seen the amendments, but they appear to be pretty comprehensive. It adds requirements for a pesticide management program, adds requirements for a decommission and restoration plan, requiring the owner of a solar farm provide specialized equipment to Delaware County Emergency Management Agency. It changes the public notice for a solar project. It adds insurance requirements, verifying that changes to an existing solar farm requires a new application, adding land use limitations for solar farms, adding a property value guarantee. Again, I have not seen that. I don't know what that constitutes. And adding a good neighbor policy. So it's a pretty comprehensive look, and I encourage anyone who's interested in that issue to attend that meeting. Again, it's November the 2nd at 6 p.m. at the auditorium at the Justice and Rehabilitation Center.
I'm sorry, what time did you say, Bill?
6 p.m. 6 p.m., November 2nd at the Justice Center.
Awesome.
They scan that.
Any other, Ryan, you got something? All right.
I do. Did I not send that? I
You
sent
can send it back to you.
Yeah, I got a couple things to touch on Councilmember you said about the planning commission. this has been going on for quite a while. I believe the last time this council did anything on it, it was just Jessica and I up here and Ben as well. And, at the time, we had approved a
Tax abatement.
yeah, thank you. Couldn't get it off my head there. We approved the tax abatement, under the impression there was no opposition. We asked, is there any opposition? We was told there wasn't. Once we approved the opposition, they showed up in the hundreds with legal representation and organized. So I had suggested at that time that we rescind property, or the tax abatement, and I believe the council come up with a decision that, you know what, let's wait and let's see what this planning commission does. At the time, they were talking about the moratorium. So that's what we decided to do. So with that meeting, in the works, I thought that would be a good time to remind the council, since most of us wasn't here, that was an option on the table, and we wanted to wait and see what this planning commission meeting,
That was
discussed.
twofold, because they had the subcommittee that they put together, a bipartisan subcommittee to kind of go over all of that stuff. So that happened, and then we have the commissioner's moratorium still in place, and then this. So it's all kind of moving, and, but that's a good call out that's where that stands here at a council level, that we were just kind of waiting to see where things,
There's
where the
been a
cards
lot.
land.
Yeah, there's been a lot going on, and with Marta passing, it sure didn't, you know, it kind of really put a kink in things, because she was such an integral, player in all of that whole deal. The other thing, staying with the, you know, the commissioners had, passed something to replace the roof of the Justice Center. I just want to say, I hope they, consider putting some solar panels on top of the roof, and when they do their roof, I know that was one of Commissioner Henry's concerns before, was can the roof, support some solar panels, or, you know, can they work in unison together? So I hope that's something they're considering when they're doing their, plan to replace the roof out there. Hopefully we can get that fixed. I know it's been leaking for a couple of years now, and then sounds like, something's finally getting done about that. So I'm glad to hear that. The other thing I just wanted to say is, you know, it's October right now. We got early voting going on, and I really, really encourage everyone to just get out and vote and exercise your right as an American. Our voter turnout here is abysmal, and we've really, really got to get our turnout up. And, you know, people get frustrated with their elected representatives, but the only way you can change that is to get out and go to the polls and vote. And if you can't do it in November, you know, we have it right downstairs. We're open every day for early voting. So I just really want to encourage and urge everyone to please do your civic duty and cast your vote. That's all I have. And everyone, have a happy Halloween, enjoy yourself, and watch out for all them little kids running around out there. 'Cause
That's
they're not
true.
they're not looking for cars. They're just looking to the next house to run to.
Right, and we won't be meeting before the election, so not only is it the municipal election for the city of Muncie, but you also have towns like Selma and, Eaton and Daleville. So, yeah, so if you live in any of those towns, make sure you get involved and participate. Before we wrap up, I do have one last thing, two things. One, we have no questions from the public on, the live stream or an email. But I sent this out to, Commissioner Henry and to Pam and HR. The Muncie Civic Theater is doing a production of White Christmas this December, and for those of you who have seen the movie or the musical, there's a large military component to that particular performance. So the Civic Theater is inviting veterans to get tickets for free to come to the show. No public speaking or preparation needed. Uniforms or service member apparel of any sort are welcome, but not required. So if any veterans in our community have interest, they can RSVP for complimentary tickets for you and a guest on your chosen date at tickets@munciecivic.org. The show's running from December 8th through the 23rd. So I would love to see that. I think that'd be really great to have a lot of veterans in attendance. And if you can wear your uniform, that'd be great. But with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Dan, second by Ryan. Roll call.
Mr. Flanagan.
Yes.
Mr. Hughes.
Yes.
Mr. Cantz.
Yes.
Mr. Mokel.
Yes.
Mr. Webb.
Yes.
Mr. Whitehead.
Yes.
And Ms. Piper.
Yes. All right, we're adjourned. Thank you.
Yeah, that holds.